up, y'all? I'm Daryl Cannon, aka Killboy, and I'm here with my lovely co-host,
Lori Cannon, aka Kill Girl.
and we're coming to you from the Killboy headquarters at Fontana Village with episode 3 of Kicking It with Killboy here, giving you some information about what's going on in the area and what's coming up.
Recapping this week, we had the Corvette Expo that came through doing their Dragon Cruise.
They've participated in trying to set a Guinness record before to get the most, it wasn't cars, it was just Corvettes. It was the most Corvettes on the Dragon at once, and they had 400 and something turned out before, but this year they came through at 7 p.m. on a Thursday. Our guys would have normally already been packed up and gone, but because we knew they were coming, they stayed out a little later and got some shots and stuff of them.
A little low turnout with those guys this year for the Dragon Cruise, purely I think because of the weather, because it did get pretty nasty that evening.
Yeah, it's been a pretty windy couple of events there. Did you know that right now, by the way, there is a fire ban for the entire state of North Carolina? It's one of the first times ever, or I'm not sure if it's the first time, but it was something about it was a big deal because it hadn't happened. And most or all of South Carolina as well.
Yeah.
So right now we're under a fire ban for the whole freaking state because it's just so windy, so dry. So be careful if you're in the area.
You know, in the past couple weeks, we have had our first day of spring, which usually,
What a joke.
You're looking forward to it. You're imagining the birds chirping, the sun beaming on your face. But you know what we got this year? Yeah.
So I don't know if we got any footage of that.
I tried.
It was a week snow, but it was cold enough to snow, obviously. It was snowing in our yard. We got a little dusting outside, and I tried to get a couple pictures of it. It was kind of weak, but yeah, it was just funny that first day of spring, temperatures plummeted, and it was in the low 30s and snowed. So there you go, North Carolina. If you're gonna come and you're asking what to pack, we want to talk about that for a second.
Bring everything.
Yeah, as far as clothing goes, it's hard to predict. I mean, we've had snow into May. It's not normal. I mean, usually it is nice, so don't freak out. I tell people, just like the rest of us mortals, you just have to look at the forecast, and all we can see is about a week out. Beyond 4 or 5 days, I don't really trust the forecast. The temperature I'll kind of trust, but the precipitation is not reliable.
You go out and you do this.
Yeah, so more than about 3 or 4 days out, but it is kind of a wet area. The Smoky Mountains gets its name because of all the moisture coming off the mountains, creating this fog. So it's practically a rainforest status space. So I tell people, try to be here for at least 3 days, and 2 out of the 3 days will be nice, and 1 of the 3 days you'll probably end up, getting some moisture.
With it being the first of spring, things are starting to bloom, so make sure you bring those allergy meds because we are both just...
And with all the wind blowing, plus all these trees and stuff around here, the pollen, the tree sperm, it's all in my mouth, it's all in my face. But yeah, if you're, susceptible to allergies this time of year for the next month or so, it's going to be extra rough. So moving on to the second weekend, it was pretty busy. It's kind of nice weather, I think, too, right? So it brought out quite a few people, and it's still, a higher concentration of cars than bikes probably, but there was some bikes out too, and there's some bikes out today. There's some down in the parking lot.
Beautiful day for it.
Yeah, it's awesome today. Like I said, pretty windy at times. This gust keeps coming and going. Right now it's pretty calm, but yeah, it's 75 degrees out probably right now. I'm kind of hot.
So we had St. Patrick's Day recently, and of course, the girls, they had to do their thing. They're looking all cute. We'll put some footage in there of them standing out in front of the dragon.
Swing through there if it's a holiday type of thing and see what they're dressed up like. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
I'm proud of those guys for taking the extra effort into that. So coming up now on the Tail of the Dragon event calendar, you guys can go to the website and click on 2025 events on tailofthedragon.com and see this stuff. And it's being updated. If you have a group coming or something, if you can let us know, that helps everybody kind of get an idea of when to plan their events and things like that. It's really appreciated. And plus, they can make stuff down at the store specific to your event and have some really cool custom swag down there. So swing by the store if you're here for an event, and if the event is not on the calendar, please hit them up and let them know when it is and some links to where they can go for more information.
This week happening right now, as you're going to be watching the video, is the big Ponies in the Smokies event. That's kind of headquartered over in Newport, Tennessee. And then coming up on the weekend, we've got the Civic X Wake the Dragon Rally. And as I've been digging around, I really appreciate the links that people are sending whenever they provide the event info, because it kind of helps me learn about the events and pull these little bits of information that I hope you're finding as interesting as I am. The Civic X Wake the Dragon event first started in 2018, and it started as, and I get this from their webpage, just a man and his Civic. The originator, he attended a Civic event in the early 2000s, and he was just really inspired by the event and the camaraderie that whenever he went on to get a 10th generation Civic, he wanted to continue that with that car. So the Civic X Wake the Dragon event was born.
And that's where the X comes from. It's basically 10th gen Honda Civics owners, but I think that they have kind of, expanded a little bit, but it's mostly generated around that. But he had a really cool phrase that was posted up that she took a liking to. So what did he say?
We came for the road and came back for the people.
I think that says a lot about, the Dragon and stuff. There's plenty of other good curvy roads, don't get me wrong, but if you're into, meeting other people that are into what you're into, I think that's what makes it different. There's not a lot of roads that you have that kind of space to hang out at either end and get to know other people that are there for the same reason. So that was really cool though, yeah.
To me, that's the magic of the area. So Corey Poole, I don't know you, but you get 2 thumbs up, dude.
Summarized it beautifully. Very well said.
Y'all get it. And I hope that really inspires other people to feel the same way about the area. I didn't know about this before. It just got added to the calendar recently, and it's called March Moto Madness. And it's the Mother Rally, and it is headquartered over in Tellico Plains, Tennessee. It's a motorcycle event, and it's a worldwide adventure rally. They have like probably a dozen rallies simultaneously around the world going on. And it's rallies in places from Spain, South Africa, Wales, Brazil, England, Japan, just to name a few. I mean, they are legit worldwide, so it's so darn cool. And I love the adventure bike people. They are just, the core of what they are, getting out and adventuring and going places that's harder to get to is like, that makes my soul so happy.
Yeah.
And to think that there's people doing this for the same reason at the same time all around the world is like...
Yeah, and kicking back to, again, Tell the Dragon's website, there's some maps and stuff on there for dual sporting and things like that. So if you're in the area for those events, or any other time for that matter, they have a whole map section on there that has some good dual sport roads.
Rolling into the first week in April, we're going to have the Rensport air-cooled Porsches. Wookiees in the Woods will start rolling in.
Which is the Volkswagen R32 Golf GTI platform. And they got started calling that because they sound like Chewbacca going through the woods.
We'll have spring rod runs.
Yeah, it mostly takes place in Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, but there's always, bleed over from those types of events that are close by where people will make a point to come through the Dragon with their ride and, be able to say they did it, get their photos, stuff like that. So we'll see a few, but it's usually not super busy, but we get to see some cool vehicles from that.
Yeah.
I always like my classics.
And then we've got the, I believe, 3rd annual Prius and the Dragon event, and that's going to round out the first weekend in April for what we have currently on the Tell of the Dragon event calendar.
Starting to get busy. Spring is usually one of those months where we do see a little flurry of extra activity. People are trying to shake off the cobwebs, plan their group drives and stuff, and get out. What's coming up now? We got an area update on what all is going on around the area. They're working on Bald River Falls still. For those of you that don't know, there used to be a road right in front of Bald River Falls that people would stand out on it and take pictures and stuff. Plus, there was traffic going through it, so it would always create this sort of sketchy problem where people are. And it was a narrow 2-lane road already, just for just for car traffic. And then you have people standing there wanting to back up and take a picture and that type of thing. To address that situation before it got dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
that's a
I
word.
think there was some dilapidation in the structure.
Right,
as
it needed
well.
to be worked on anyway. It's right in front of a giant waterfall, which probably does its own damage to infrastructure or whatever. So they added now like a pedestrian lane separate from the car lanes so that people can walk out there and get a good look at it and everything. It's a really interesting kind of opportunity to see the waterfall in a way that you don't get to see most waterfalls. You're floating on a bridge in front of it over the water that comes off of it and goes underneath you, you know. It's a pretty tall and wide fall. It's a pretty cool thing to plan to go see with confidence that it'll be spectacular no matter when you get there. When is that supposed to be finished up? Expected to reopen end of April. Again, this is called Bald River Falls. For those of you that don't know, it's over on the Tellico end of the Cherhela Skyway, and there's a separate road that goes back to it. It's a really pretty drive. It goes along the river and everything, kind of narrow road, and it doesn't dead end. It kind of goes back to, in terms of gravel.
Yeah, it turns into gravel, and from there, there's a whole, this is where for the adventure riders and stuff too.
Hundreds of miles of gravel
road. Whole
road.
Network of dirt roads.
Yeah, take this moment to subscribe to this, podcast, this channel. As a reminder, we appreciate it. Any kind of interaction that you guys can do with these, with these things, it helps us a lot. We don't want to have to do clickbait junk and game the system and everything. The algorithm is what it is. So it helps a lot when you interact with a video or something. So we appreciate you guys. So if you've got something you want us to cover or a question you want us to elaborate on, leave it in the comments. Hey, so what's going on here right now? Quill's Canteen, which is the grill in the middle of the village, has opened for the season. They've got a new menu that's pretty exciting. So we're looking forward to that. They got some gluten-free options for you.
They have more.
But they're doing breakfast buffet here now in the canteen in the middle of the village. So
and that'll be from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. and they'll have a short hour closure intermission there to get ready for lunch, and then they'll be doing a lunch and dinner from 11 a.m. to close, which that's what we're about to go do, is check out that new menu and have some lunch.
So we just finished up lunch. It was awesome, and the new menu was a nice, refreshing selection of stuff there, so that was cool. What'd you think? You got
I love the poke bowl.
Yeah, she likes poke bowls, and there's no place around here to get them. We usually have to drive about an hour south into Georgia to find a place that has those. So we're gonna head on down to the store now and do some.
Check out the scene there.
Yeah, check out the scene there, and then going up onto the Dragon after that. So let's go for a ride.
Something new that you're going to notice as of 2024 is the new construction right here beside the road. We now have a designated crosswalk so you can get from one side of the street to the other a little more safely.
So yeah, when you're coming through here now, you know, we're all guilty of ripping it up the hill. I never was close to anyone trying to walk across the street, but we have had some issues with reports of people pushing the button, trying to walk, and vehicles are ripping up the road where they have to stop for them on foot. And so let's maybe, as of this year moving forward, take it a little easy right in here. Have your fun up in there. I get it. There's people. Everybody wants to do the thing for the people, but maybe not. We're going to back it down right in this area because now, you know, it's more of a pedestrian emphasis on, you know, right of way here. And let's just take it easy through here. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, let's hold on up the road and head up to our little spot at mile marker 3.
Later.
The sunlight is pretty.
Yeah.
Shining through the trees. Yeah, it's 74 degrees out. Sort of late in the day on Sunday. Was it 5:30ish?
Yeah.
So we still got a couple hours before sunset. I'm gonna cruise down here to what we call campsite. It's just past Gravity Cavity, and it's a place that I think is kind of interesting. We've got some cool stories about the history of that space. A little bit of photography there, although it's not a place that I shot very often at all. Just did it a couple of times, but the road's really nice condition. All the salt residue and stuff is gone. Pavement is coming in nicely from the repave to where it's got a bit more abrasion to it, I guess you could say, or grip to it. Feels good.
We're still getting a little bit of wind in the area right now, so keep that in mind. You might pop around a turn and there could be a big limb or a small limb laying in the road that you might have to drive over or try to avoid. So keep a little bit in reserve for that.
Some scratch marks and tire skid marks in the road back there. So here we're going through Gravity Cavity and we're about to come up on campsite. It's not a great place to pull into from this direction because you got to go across the road. I know to look through the trees and see way down the road, and plus there's nobody behind me for a good little ways here. Just be careful though if you're ever pulling across like this. Make sure it's absolutely clear. We call this campsite, and we call this campsite because there used to be a fire pit here, and there was actually a sign across the road that had a tent and an arrow pointing over here, and this was a place that was not paved. This was before they repaved all of the pull-offs, and people could camp here. So we would hang out here with friends sometimes who were camping at night and stuff. We've had some fun times here. We got some good stories from here, and we thought this would be, that dude is getting it on that cruiser. We thought this would be a good place. Oh, by the way, this reminds me of a funny story I heard. Supposedly, this is probably some urban legend BS, but supposedly the Forest Service park rangers were having problems with bears getting into some of the bear-proof trash cans, and somebody asked one of the park rangers, well, why can't you make them more difficult for the bears to get into? And the response was, because there's a alarming overlap between the smartest bears and the dumbest people, so they have to make them so easy to get into. So yeah, these are, stick your hand in there, open them up. So yeah, this was the fire pit back in the day, and you can see the remnants of the this actually was like concrete and rock built in, structured into the ground to encourage you to build your fires here. Okay, so this is the part where Lori's going to talk a little bit about the history of the place. Talk about what's going on here. What do you got?
So, as Daryl's mentioned, we are at the 3 mile marker on Tail of the Dragon, And this is known to some as campsite, but originally known as toll booth corner. So the Tail of the Dragon, years ago, 1700s, started out as just an animal path. And by the 1800s, the path had become more of a crude roadway. Whenever you go to tailofthedragon.com and click on their history section, you're going to see one of the first known photographs taken on Tail of the Dragon. It was taken in this spot of the toll keeper at the time, George Davis, and the photo is circa the 1890s. And with the more settlers, gaining ownership of more land around the area and it becoming private property, they started implementing tolls to be able to cross. Rumor has it that those that tried to sneak through without paying the tolls were caught and hung. So there's, rumors that there did used to be a hanging tree here in the woods. So it would probably be a little kind of creepy to camp here at night. We've stayed here late at night with friends into the wee hours of the morning, hanging out, having laughs, and
yeah, it's a wonder we hung out here at night and didn't get all freaked out. But we had a fire going, and we had friends, and we were having a good time. The other thing that I always remember from hanging out here was the night that I was here on the motorcycle and you were in your Firebird. I went to it was like what? 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, it was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, I want to go make a run on the bike. It's dead empty or whatever. So I hop on the bike and I go up to make a run. And while I'm up making a run, our friend, who we won't mention the name of, thinks it'd be funny to go up the road and run across the road naked when I come by. So he gets Lori to drive him up in her car to a spot like a mile up the road maybe and drop him off. And then she comes back to here. I'm coming back down to the campsite here from the overlook. As I come around the corner, this fool goes running across the road right in front of me with nothing on. And I was laughing so hard, it was so late and cold, I fogged up my visor so bad in the helmet that I about freaking wrecked laughing. And then he is waiting for her to come back and pick him up, and he thinks he's gonna be cute too, and hitchhike on the side of the road, bare ass basically. And so he's standing on the side of the road waiting for her to come pick him up, and as he hears her coming, he stands on the side of the road with his thumb out, and the car goes by. It's not her, it's some random person going through this road at 2 o'clock in the morning. So here they see this dude standing on the side of the road with his thumb out and no clothes on, and totally have a good story to tell their friends. And then I guess when you showed up,
I was the car right behind him.
Yeah, you were behind it or whatever. So she shows up to pick him up, and he's all embarrassed because
he's like, by the time he realizes it's not me, he's reaching down to grab his pants, and then he's like trying to like jump in the car because coincidentally there's another car coming behind me at this point.
Why was it so busy at 2 o'clock in the morning? All right, so that's a couple of goofy stories from this place. God bless you. He had the sniffles. Campsite. Trail. So we're going down here to this curve because there's a little bit of history with this also, and I think it's just an interesting little spot that a lot of people never see or know anything about. So a lot of people don't know this, but this curve right here, you're going over a tunnel. There's a lot of trees fell right there. And up there is Gravity Cavity. The road is running right there. And then up here, we're gonna walk up that way in just a second, but you can see a car going by right there. So right here, you can see the tunnel under the road. I used to come down here with my camera gear.
Don't touch that.
And hike this same trail that she's walking. Be careful. Somebody's, is that a front bumper? Yeah, it's a front bumper piece off of something. You gonna bust your ass? So yeah, check out how this view of the road. So I used to stand right there where she's at and get that shot. of people going by. They would pop out from behind the rocks and stuff over here on the left, if they were going in southbound, obviously, and go by right in front of my head. And of course, I don't use a flash or anything like that. It's distracting. And I would try not to wear like bright clothes or anything. I just stand here and get like maybe 2 shots. It was like bam, bam, real quick. Every now and then somebody that went by would see me, but for the most part, nobody would ever even see me. They had no idea I was standing here shooting. This is a feature of the road that I think a lot of people don't even know about. It's really hard to see this from up there. It's also a reason why this turn is a little sketchy. It tends to be a colder piece of road right there because of this tunnel and the water. Makes it stay a little damper right here. So this corner can be a little damp and cold, unusually compared to the rest of the road because of these, because of the water and the fact that it's a tunnel.
I'm ready.
It's hard to hear them because of this water flow. It was hard to know when something was coming. If it was quiet, like a gold wing or something like that, man, it would pop out from around the corner before I could really even hear it. So this was a tricky place to shoot. I didn't shoot it very often. Hey, you made it.
Will you hand me that bearing or whatever? We'll take
It's
that.
a bumper cover. You can go put it in the trash can.
Yeah. And we'll try this way.
Yay! If you guys want to join us in just a minute, we're going to talk about a piece of gear that we use a lot that we think is interesting and you might find interesting as well. So let's get into it. This is what we're recording that with. So we've got a couple of these, and these are called the Osmo Pocket 3. These things are really impressive for the size. It's got a stabilized head built into it, but it's a little bit fragile. So this isn't the ideal thing for slapping on the side of a motorcycle and stuff like that, or on a car. It's got a 1-inch sensor in it, and it's got a crazy good video quality for what size it is. It does much better video than like GoPros and stuff. But basically you can just flip it up, flip it on, hit the button. You can record facing, and it wirelessly connects to their wireless mics. You can get it as a set, or you can get them separately, but it's super seamless connection, and now you've got wireless audio going into it. These things are about $500. You can attach a secondary battery piece to it, or you can just hold it like this. This has got a battery built into it also, so it gives it like a couple hours of runtime. Writes onto a micro SD card, and you can do time lapses and things like that with it. Slow motion video, we use it for a lot of our slow motion stuff. So it does 4K 120p, 120 frames per second in 4K. It's pretty impressive. So you can slow it down to a quarter speed and it's still smooth. So thank you guys. This is going to wrap up this video with Kicking It with Killboy. Our podcast is on Spotify and YouTube. I'm trying to get it on other platforms as well. I just need to figure all that out. But, check out the Tail of the Dragon for the event page. Again, thanks to Quill's Canteen in Fontana Village, the headquarters for our little outfit here. We appreciate you guys supporting us with your photo purchases. And until next time, we will see you on the next episode of Kicking It with Killboy, the podcast that is for everyone who's into motorsports stuff. Until next time. This is the part where you cut out this section right in here, Lori. So don't put this part in the video. I gotta do this thing. And action. Oh wait, it wasn't recording.
Yeah, it is. It's counting up.
Got you.
Oh, there's poop right outside my door, but I didn't step in it.
Well, good going.
So, we're here to answer the age-old question. Does a bear poop in the woods? No, they poop right here where I want to get out of the car. That's where a bear poops. That's the woods. There's the poop. Woods, not in the woods.